Hey there. Welcome. Hey. Hello. Hey,
Hello.
lady.
Hello.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the premiere of Brand Rewind Live. We're so excited to be here. You guys are coming to us from either YouTube or Facebook. So welcome. We've got such an exciting show planned, our premiere, but not just our premiere, because we're planning on bringing you an exciting show every time we come
That's right.
on YouTube and Facebook Live with Brand Rewind Live. So, yes, I'm Denise Cagle. I'm coming to you from Boston, Massachusetts. And I will say, hey guys, you probably didn't know this. We actually tied record high temperature today. So, for all of the folks out there who are going, Boston is so cold there. Not today. Not today. And by the way, you guys know this, that this is not a fake background. This is, yes, a fireplace. Because even though it's 60 degrees, I love my fireplace. My fireplace. So, my co-hosts are going to introduce themselves to you now. Barika.
Hi, everyone. I'm Barika Phillips Bell, and I am coming to you live from Los Angeles, California, where it's a nice 75 degrees here. And I have to say, it's beautiful today. So while I love your fire, Denise, the sun is the real thing.
All right. You got me, Barika. Yes.
So, Fatia.
Yes. Welcome, everyone. And I'm in Harlem, New York, at the corner of Fifth Avenue and 125th Street. I'm at a WeWork location. And today it was actually warm here as well. It was 60 degrees. That's warm for us, right? And I did live in Boston for 10 years, and I remember those winters. So, Denise, I know why you have a fireplace.
Exactly.
Okay, Zoe, let's hear from you.
Well, hello from the T.O, as Drake likes to call it. Hello, Toronto is in the house as well, ladies. We are north of you. Hello, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, for those who don't know which Toronto, because I think there's one in California. Yes. And it poured here today. It poured all night and then all day. And just before we came on live, I looked out the window and there was snow on the ground. Welcome to the T. That's how we roll here.
I do not envy your weather.
Keep you on the toes. Big wardrobe.
Yes, that is true. But there's something, Barika, to be said about changing seasons, right?
Yeah.
It was cold last week. It was like, in the 30s, like at night. Yeah, so we got a little cold. Little Big Bear had some snow, so it happens.
That is true. So you guys have just met the 4 co-hosts of Brand Rewind Live, coming to you from different parts of the world, different parts of the world. So I mentioned earlier, we've got an exciting show, but let's first talk about something fun. We're going to start the show off every time we come to you with the global recognition of the day, or however you phrase it, what's being recognized today, or what this day is known as worldwide. And it happens to be today, February 17th, is Random Acts of Kindness Day. Random Acts of Kindness. So I'm not going to put my co-hosts on the spot to ask if they did that today. Did they, execute a random act of kindness? But maybe for those of you watching now or later, if you're watching the replay, you did do that. But I also want to point out there are a couple other exciting things that are being recognized today. Let me get some thoughts from my co-host. There's, which I thought was kind of fun. Today is also National Cabbage Day.
Really? Wow.
Why?
Exactly. National Cabbage Day. It's also, and I'm a seafood lover, it's Champion Crab Races Day.
Oh my God.
Wow. I'm proud of that.
That sounds like good eating. That just sounds like good eating. I want some crab.
That's my past life.
Exactly. Now here's my favorite. Well, I like the acts of kindness, certainly, but my second favorite is it's My Way Day.
That one I like.
I like that one.
Way or the highway. No, I stuck that. My
every
way.
Day.
Every day.
I know, right? Every day is my way.
Right.
But I thought that was cute. So for those of you who are joining us, please remember, or let me just let you know, there's a chat here. So feel free to post your questions in the chat. And towards the end of the show, we are going to go through and answer your questions. All right. So let us know that you're there. Let us know that you're there so we can give you a shout out. So we've got 4 segments during this live stream, during this program. So let's kick off the show with our first segment, which is brands in the hot seat. Brands in the hot seat. All right.
Yes.
Barika's going to kick us off.
Yes. So I want to kick us off today just by talking a little bit about Joe Rogan, the anti-vaxxers, and Spotify. Oh my. Now, as you know, this whole debacle kicked off after an episode from Joe Rogan's podcast featured Dr. Robert Malone, who I believe is an infectious disease specialist. And Neil Young ignited a protest against Spotify for airing an episode from Joe Rogan's podcast that featured him. And he's since been banned from Twitter for spreading COVID misinformation. Now, Spotify's CEO outlined a whole policy which now adds content advisory labels to any podcast that includes a discussion about COVID-19. Now, ultimately, Spotify did not cancel Joe Rogan for one simple reason. It can't afford to. In the headlines, even just today, Spotify and New York Times actually said that Spotify paid Joe Rogan about $200 million. $200 million for the exclusive rights to not just his new episodes of the podcast, but actually for the entirety of his decade-plus backlog. $200 million. Now, given that he has 11 million listeners, how are they going to give that up? Right. How are they going to clean that up? So the content advisory that they've placed on all COVID content that could be placed out there is just the start. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think about the censorship of just COVID, but beyond the COVID, like there's so many things that they could now be liable for and have to be the arbiter for as a brand. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll jump in and kick us off. It's interesting. What can they do? Certainly, they have a lot of money, a lot of investment tied up in him. If enough other artists, my guess is, come out and have an issue with it. I mean, it's like, what is going to be that tipping point? What is it? Has Spotify internally said, okay, if we get to this point, we're going to make this, call? That would be interesting to see if they, in their own inner circle, but in the corporate boardroom, have they had those types of strategic conversations?
I would agree.
Given that they've lost $2 billion since it happened. Right. I don't know if holding on to Joe Rogan is the smart choice, but it does set them up for, Pandora's box, so to speak, because now, what can you say as a podcaster? And even thinking about it in the way of comedians, what are you allowed to say? What aren't you allowed to say? Because ultimately, Joe Rogan can't help that if somebody listens to him, he can't help that, they listened and actually did what he said. But he is responsible for what he says because words matter. So next, I will kick it over to Denise. And I would love to know from you on your brand from the hot seat, Mr. Matt Stafford. And hear about what he did and his adventures in the hot seat.
Yeah. Oh boy. The Rams quarterback, Matt Stafford, man, is his brand on the hot seat. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen the video, and the reason his brand is on the hot seat. So there's a video on Twitter, which we're gonna show you, where they're in the midst of celebrating their Super Bowl win. They're all excited. They're all pumped. There are tons of people there to see them. He's up on stage, and this happens. There we go. Yep. So just 1 second. So we're going to see this happen, or if you guys haven't already seen it, I know when I saw it this morning, I thought, oh my goodness. In fact, I called an audible because I was supposed to be talking about something else. And I said, oh no, and using this football term audible, I'm calling an audible. I'm talking about quarterback Matt Stafford and his brain being in the hot seat. So there we go.
No.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
So
That was horrible.
I
That's
know. So just to let you guys know what just happened, and we'll come back because then it doesn't show it again. But let you know what happened. So he's up on stage, and a photographer is up on stage, and you see just sort of a glimpse of this photographer falling off the stage. Now, why is Matt Stafford's brand on the hot seat? Because he turns and he walks away, sips his bottled water, and he can't say he didn't see her. He can't say,
Right.
I didn't know, nobody told me. And
No.
he's looking right at her.
Exactly.
Yes, he is.
there, and he just left.
And what is fascinating about that is that's his wife Kelly, who jumps up. Clearly, she's in shock. She
Right.
goes over to see, apparently, to see if the photographer is okay. Now, obviously I don't have firsthand knowledge. I'm watching what everybody else watched. Millions of people have seen that video, and I've been reading the commentary around it. And there are people who are saying, well, maybe he saw her fall into the arms of security and knew she was okay.
Okay, Romeo.
You can still check it and say, "Are you okay?" I mean, he just
Right.
turned his back. That's unacceptable.
I mean, it was not a good look for the queer.
It was
No.
not a good
You know,
look.
it's just not a good look because you're an award-winning, like they just won the Super Bowl. So for you to like just continue about your business, that says a lot about you as a person.
It does. And apparently he said to his wife, this is only what I read, that he whispers to her, go deal with it. Kelly, go deal with it.
Wow.
Apparently, just what, I read. What I think what's fascinating about that is and I'm going to try to say this well, I don't know, whatever. This obviously this is about, political commentary.
Speak on it.
Yeah.
It's so typical. I'm sorry, guys. The guys out there, this is not a male bashing show, we promise. But it's so typical, that he says to his wife, go deal
handle
with
it. Yeah.
handle it. And of
Right.
course, she just, the look on her face, because that's what we do. We're carrying people.
We're the handlers. We're the
Right.
fixers.
handlers.
Right.
The fixers. Yeah.
We're the fixers or handlers. We show sensitivity and care, and that's exactly what she did. He should come out. He should own it. He should maybe make light of it. Not really, because apparently the photographer did something to her spine, sprained her.
Oh my God! Wow.
It was rushed to the hospital right after that.
Horrible.
But he should give a shout out to his wife and women everywhere who are caregivers, who carry the load, because he, something, I don't know, but he should say something about that video, because you said, Barika, is not a good look. It's not
a good look.
Not at all.
That is not a good look at all.
You know what else is not a good look? FedEx.
Hello.
Oh.
Hello. Okay, let me speak on this one.
I'm gonna let you speak on it.
I had a moment because I didn't want to go down this road. Okay, so let me give you the backstory. The backstory is, we all know the tragic murder of Ahmaud Arbery in 2020.
Yeah.
This one caught my eye because it was deemed the copycat of the Ahmaud Arbery case. And I went, oh God, no. Another white father and son duo in the South decided to attack a FedEx driver who was delivering packages in his FedEx uniform in a predominantly white neighborhood in Mississippi. The victim, like Ahmaud, he was only 24 years old and simply doing his job. So this is how he describes what happened. He said he was delivering a package, turned around to leave, and noticed a white pickup truck driving towards him, honking his horn. He said, okay, I guess I'm in this guy's way, maneuvers his van around him, and gets faced by someone who turns out to be the son in the street pointing a gun at him. He says, oh, snap, maneuvers around this armed man who he doesn't know, and then happens to duck as bullets start flying past his head. It gets better than that. He calls his managers immediately and says to them, "This is what's happening." And they say to him, "Come back to the station," not the police. The station, as in the station for FedEx.
Wow.
Then, oh, this gets better by the second. One of his
That's
managers
crazy.
says to him, "Oh, I'll file the police report in the morning." But a 24-year-old is smart enough to know police report should be filed right away.
Immediately, exactly. Why wait until the morning?
Hello. So he calls 911 and tells the dispatcher what's going on. And as he tells the dispatcher, he gets interrupted by the dispatcher telling him, "Are you in XYZ neighborhood? I just got to report a suspicious man in the area." And he
Oh my
says,
God.
"Yeah, that's me. And they shot at me." He said, "Oh, well, they didn't tell me that part."
Oh my God.
So he gets back to his station. The manager sees the bullet holes in the back of the van, and inside the packages are bullet fragments. But the manager turns to him and says to him, "Hey, tomorrow, make sure you come back to work and you get to drive the
Wow.
same route."
Oh my God.
And when he says, "No, I am not doing that," he gets placed on an unpaid leave.
Oh no.
Just like the Ahmaud Arbery case, guess what happens? Charges are not reflected. The culprits were not arrested right away. And it gets better. You know when FedEx decides to give him back a paid leave? After the press releases.
Oh my God.
Of
FedEx,
course.
I just have to say, shame on you. To me, this is performative. If you go on with FedEx's website, you'll see their values are people first,
Wow.
safety and well-being of team members, and respect for everyone. I'm
Not
sorry.
in this
Really?
case at
Not
all.
in this case. No.
Really? Really, FedEx? You
Yeah.
are too big to be acting like this. You got
Yeah.
to do better than this. This is disgusting. Like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to say, in management, if I'm following these values, I will take this man and put him on a leave, a paid leave, knowing
Right.
he's been through trauma, and give him the support he needs. And then I would also help him go to the police station and report it right away.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if
Has
you have
FedEx,
any other.
Zoe, did FedEx say any? Have they issued any official
Oh,
statement
they did after the press release.
after the press
Mm.
We
release?
stand by our employees, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they went
Mm.
there after
Yeah.
the
The
fact.
rhetoric, I think it's just indicative of like what many of companies, I think we looked at McDonald's, they also
Mhm.
had an issue with along the same lines.
Yeah,
And it's really important as a brand, as a company, to really value your employees.
Right.
Like especially in today's time where it's so hard and difficult to find the right people.
right?
Like like you can't just treat them like they're
Disposable. They're just
yeah,
Yeah.
they're not disposable. I
Well,
love
that's
it.
the whole thing behind this one because for me, I'm like, you just made all the recruiters at your company's job harder. You just told the rest of the drivers that it's not safe to work here and we won't back you. And then
right.
anybody who was going to apply has probably rescinded their offer to work.
I
Like, talk
definitely.
about things not to do with your brand. You just hurt your
Yeah.
brand internally and externally.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Great Resignation. Hello.
They can fix it. It's just it takes work, but they can absolutely fix it, especially as we talk
Absolutely.
about how big a brand FedEx is.
Yeah.
And one of the most hasn't it made those most respected brands lists over the years? I feel like
Yeah.
they have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So they've got
Absolutely.
that built-in, consumer, love, and now they need to step up.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
So that's disheartening and unfortunate and just bad, just sad all around.
Yep.
I'm
Patia,
glad
I
we
know
went
you
to
got one for us too.
I'm glad we
Yes,
dropped
I
the
do.
show.
I call this one Bath and Body Works Black History Month campaign gone horribly wrong. And I found out about this a couple of weeks ago, and I was, I really love Bath and Body Works. I've been buying their scents and their candles for years, and so I was really excited. I think this is the first time they've attempted to do anything like this. That they were rolling out a campaign specifically in honor of Black History Month. However, upon further investigation of this matter, as I was preparing myself to, go down to 125th Street right here and buy some Black History Month products in person, I found out that this was some really poor execution of a campaign that could have been amazing. So part of the campaign, aside from the products, and the products is where they went wrong, is that they're going to be donating, I think, let me double check the figure, I don't want to misquote. Yes, $500,000 to the National Urban League and to the Columbus Urban League. Great, that part is amazing. However, when I heard about the campaign, my impression was that so they have African themed packaging, and the displays are beautiful. And so my initial impression was that they had actually developed some new scents, possibly in collaboration with Black producers, and maybe possibly the packaging had been designed by Black designers, and this was the way that they were forging forward with this campaign. However, what I realized, thanks to Twitter, right? If you want to know what's going on, check out Twitter for stuff like this.
Twitter for everyone.
There you go. They pretty much did the lazy thing and just repackaged their own existing products.
Oh Lord.
Yes, exactly. And they have it in very tiny print on the products, which tells me that somebody knows that this is not what should have been done. And so because of that, people are definitely calling them out. People are disappointed. I was on Facebook and I was looking at the comments, and what was really impactful to me was that they didn't only offend Black people. There was this woman, and I wish I had taken the screenshot. She said, I'm not Black, but if I were Black, I would be offended by this because this is the laziest thing I've ever seen a company do.
Yeah.
Right? And you wonder, like, who approved this? Like, what's going on in these boardrooms? Like, why are people why are huge brands who have access to resources and capital continuously making these rookie mistakes? As far as I'm concerned, this is a rookie mistake. I mean, and I was thinking to myself, how can they fix this? I mean, it's too late. They've already rolled this out. And by the way, I've been checking, and unless I'm mistaken, there's been no response to the outrage that's going on Twitter. They're not saying anything right now. So first thing they need to do is acknowledge that this is a mistake. But then I was thinking, how can they fix this going forward? And so we can talk about that amongst ourselves. But my thought process is, how about they have some sort of competition or something every year where they invite, listen, you can find many Black creators of candles and lotions, and I mean, very easy to find. How about you create some sort of competition where you have them present their products to you? How about you hire some Black graphic designers to design some packaging, like make something that's exciting.
Right.
And every year the winners are featured in the stores. And how about you carry those products for an entire year? Okay. And then you do this year after year. It will be an amazing platform. And Target does something like this every year, where they're actually given a platform to minority-owned businesses, giving them the exposure. It's inspiring creativity. And who knows, over time, they can possibly also donate more than $500,000. I mean, I think that's a great starting point. But, I mean, so I want to hear your thoughts, and, what would you guys do to kind of correct this for them?
I love your ideas.
I was going to say, I think your ideas are great. We're all business owners. Each one of us owns our own business. So, and we recognize and understand the importance of protecting our brand, the brand of our own personal brand, and certainly our business brand. And the ideas you put out, Patia, all make sense. The only way, though, they're going to work is for the company to make sure that they have those diverse perspectives inside the company. They have people who reflect their community, who reflect their customers, who reflect the diversity of the marketplace. Because if your idea for the contest and people submit their ideas, great. But if there aren't people inside the company who are looking at those ideas with those perspective and those different experiences, it's still not going to work.
I have to agree with you. And also, to piggyback on that, Denise, the research. For me, I think it's really important. If you're going to do a Black History campaign or any type of Black History Month campaign, you really need to understand the people, the nuances. Get with a consultant if you don't have those people in the room to help you be spot on ways to reach these demographics. Because if you're not looking at who they are and you're just kind of going like generalizing people, you're going to miss the mark every time. We saw that happen with a number of brands. Gucci missed the mark with it. You know, it's just they haven't done the research to understand the community enough, and they just think, oh, we're just going to do this for Black History Month and it's okay.
Exactly.
It's not.
Right.
It's not.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that was a good.
Okay. Yes. This was great. We're having so much fun. Thankfully, right? Thankfully, there are some brands who they have their heart in the right place and they are doing great things. So in this next segment called Lift As You Brand, Zoe will tell us all about Air Canada's All Black flight. Go for it, Zoe.
I'm wiggling in my seat because I'm excited. Talk about a branding lifting moment. Bravo, Air Canada. For those who have not heard, Air Canada last week, Friday, that's our largest domestic and international airline. They launched the inaugural Black History Month celebration flight. And that was their way of recognizing the contributions of Black employees to the airline. The flight left Canada, so it left Toronto, and it headed to Fort Lauderdale, and it came back, and it had an all-Black crew, 2 pilots, 8 flight attendants, and Black managers. And employees were supporting from the ground up. I'm so proud. I'm so happy. There we go.
Awesome. Nice. That was amazing. Yes.
And the thing about this that I love to highlight is that this was actually suggested by Black employees.
Nice.
And the fact that it was suggested, it means that it was listened to and executed. And I have to just say that's a win for everyone. Air Canada prides itself, it says, on the strength of its employees. And they claim that they aim to provide a workplace where all the employees feel like they can belong. And I think this was an absolutely fantastic example of that, showing their words and aligning their actions with their words. And the thing about this brand lifting moment is the fact that they actually listened to what their employees said and they made it happen. Yeah. And especially now with the Great Resignation, like I have to tell you, feedback from employees is critical.
Hello.
This is why people are leaving their workplaces, right? Yeah. And I can tell you right now, double check mark for Air Canada for me. This is a fantastic branding moment. Not only did they tell their employees they're listening, they told potential employees that they listen to their employees.
Yeah.
I mean,
great for their employer brand.
Absolutely. Their employer brand. It's a global brand. So you just told the world that you respect and appreciate diverse workforces.
Yeah.
So
I love it. I love it. I think that this is just a great example of a brand just showcasing, like, for their employees how they pay attention and cater, like, you know, give them the opportunity to take the stage. And this made me feel like the show on HBO, all the Black girl, like they were all celebrating, like, hey, everybody! I got that joy from this.
Right.
Yeah. I was so relieved to see this. The other thing I would call out is that for our kids and for breaking stereotypes to think that, you know, we don't have Black pilots, we do. And you can be one too. Like it's so awesome and it warmed my heart. I had to elevate this one. I want to give kudos as well because it also tells other brands to step up. It tells you to step up and ask you, what are you doing? Are you listening to your employees?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we're gonna finish going through. We got a bunch of questions in the chat. So let's certainly. I know. It's exciting. We're gonna go through as much as we can.
Okay. So our first question comes from Sarah. As a small business owner, what are some guidelines we can follow to ensure we don't have a campaign gone wrong, like some of the brands you mentioned? That's a great question.
I will take this off. Diverse opinions. Get opinions. Don't work in a silo. Get external opinions and feedback before you launch anything.
Absolutely.
All right.
I also think you have to have an alert system because sometimes you don't know. And in the case of like a Spotify, like you wouldn't know that that episode would have caused an issue, but like being able to do social listening and kind of or some kind of alert system really helps you hone in on what people are saying. So if it's just like going from 0 to 100 negative, then that's a great alert system to help you know that something's going wrong and you need to check it out and like nip it in the bud.
Respond. Timely response. So let's go. We can finish going through a couple questions, but we'll go to the next segment. Who's leading us off?
So the next segment is wrapping up and thanking everyone for coming out and listening to the show today. I think, Denise, we wanted to know if anybody had any questions, if they weren't answered today, that they could send them to
Brand Rewind at
gmail.com.
Gmail.com for sure. And we have the rip. We're going to do the rip from the headlines. Do you guys think we have time for?
We don't.
We're out of time.
Gosh, I see the time.
don't have time.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. But yes, we're running out of time. It's 7:31. But nobody's going to cut us off. Nobody's going to cut us off.
Viewers, you get to vote.
Okay, viewers. Should we go with our rip for the headlines? You let us know.
Or you know what? We can put it in the newsletter. Because so those of you who are watching live, because I see a bunch of you guys watching live, and those of you who watch the replay, make sure that you are you've signed up or will sign up for Brand Rewind, because once you sign up and join the contact list, you will get the newsletter. So what we will do is the brands that we were not able to get to today, we're going to put them in the next newsletter.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
So the next newsletter comes out on Thursday, and then we're back on Thursday, March 3rd for another edition of Brand Rewind Live. So again, send your questions to brandrewind@gmail.com. We will answer your questions or put them in the newsletter.
Absolutely. Don't forget to follow us: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and IG, Instagram.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for joining us. We love being here. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. And as always, make sure that your brand's not in the hot seat.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes. And if you know of anyone who needs a Brand Rewind, send them our way. Or if you need one, or you know someone who needs a Brand Rewind, send them our way.
All right.
Take care of it.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.